The city streets were alive with the hustle and bustle of daily life. People hurriedly made their way from one place to another, immersed in their own worlds. Among them, I walked with purpose, my mind occupied by the tasks of the day. The sun cast a warm glow on the bustling sidewalks, creating a sense of energy and vibrancy. Lost in my own thoughts, I barely noticed the figure that appeared in my peripheral vision. It was a split second, but something about that person caught my attention. I turned my head and there he was, standing a few feet away, his eyes fixed on mine. My heart skipped a beat as recognition flooded over me. It was Daniel, my ex-boyfriend, the one who had left me broken-hearted all those years ago. The memories rushed back, a mix of joy and pain intermingling. We had shared a passionate and tumultuous relationship filled with laughter and tears, promises and betrayals. And now here he was, in the same city, as if fate had conspired to bring us face to face once more. Time seemed to stand still as we locked eyes. It was as if a floodgate had been opened, and all the emotions I thought I had buried deep within me came rushing back to the surface. Anger, hurt, longing, and even a hint of curiosity mingled in my gaze. I couldn't help but wonder what had brought him back and what he wanted from me after all this time. Daniel's expression mirrored my own conflicted emotions. His face, once so familiar, now bore the traces of age and experience. His voice, when he finally spoke, trembled with a mixture of apprehension and vulnerability. "Isabella," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's been so long. I never thought I'd see you again." I found myself at a crossroads, torn between the past and the present. My heart told me to walk away, to protect myself from the pain and uncertainty that lay in revisiting a chapter of my life I had worked so hard to close. But another part of me, a part that still cared, that still held a flicker of affection, compelled me to hear him out. And so, with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, I decided to give him a chance. I agreed to meet him the next day, allowing the memories and emotions to weave their way back into my life, uncertain of where this unexpected reunion would lead. Little did I know that this decision would set off a chain of events that would test my loyalties, my resilience, and my ability to navigate the complexities of love and forgiveness. The following day arrived, bringing with it a whirlwind of emotions and anticipation. I found myself sitting across from Daniel in a quaint cafe, the air thick with the weight of unspoken words. The atmosphere was tinged with both familiarity and apprehension as we navigated the delicate dance of catching up while acknowledging the lingering wounds from our past. As we exchanged pleasantries, I couldn't help but notice the changes in Daniel. His once carefree spirit seemed subdued, replaced by a more somber and introspective demeanor. Lines etched his face, telling tales of the hardships life had dealt him. His eyes, once full of mischief, now held a hint of regret. We spoke of our lives since we last saw each other, gingerly avoiding the topic of our past relationship. Daniel shared snippets of his journey, revealing that he had returned to the city for work and had found himself alone, with no one else to turn to. It was the vulnerability in his voice that struck a chord within me, softening my initial reservations. He spoke of the mistakes he had made, the regrets that haunted him, and how he had spent years reflecting on the pain he had caused. It was evident that time had offered him a chance for self-reflection and growth. Though skepticism lingered in the back of my mind, a part of me wanted to believe that people could change. I listened intently, observing the sincerity in his eyes, desperately searching for any signs of deception. The more he spoke, the more I realized that Daniel had indeed gone through a transformation. It was as if the hardships he faced had molded him into someone who craved redemption and a chance to make amends. In that moment, a glimmer of compassion flickered within me. Despite the hurt he'd caused, I couldn't help but see the vulnerability beneath his words. I understood the courage it took for him to seek me out and ask for help. I knew that I had moved on from our past, but perhaps this was an opportunity for closure for both him and me. As our conversation neared its end, we exchanged a mix of awkward smiles and fleeting glances. The air buzzed with unspoken questions and unresolved feelings. I knew that this encounter would have lasting consequences, that it would challenge the stability I had built with my husband, John. With a lingering sense of uncertainty, We bid each other farewell, promising to keep in touch. As I walked away from the cafe, my mind filled with a swirling storm of emotions. Little did I know that this unexpected reunion was just the beginning of a tumultuous journey, one that would force me to confront my own choices and test the boundaries of loyalty and love. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel became a regular presence in my life once again. We met for lunches, engaged in long conversations, and occasionally took walks down memory lane. My husband, John, started to notice the subtle shifts in my behavior, my preoccupation, the occasional distant gaze, and he couldn't help but question what was happening. One evening, as we sat together in the comfort of our home, John gently confronted me. His eyes mirrored a mixture of concern and confusion. "Isabella, something seems off lately. I can sense a change in you. Is there something you're not telling me?" His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of the truth I'd been hiding. I took a deep breath, knowing that honesty was the only path forward. With a tremor in my voice, I confessed about Daniel's unexpected return to our city and the help he sought from me. I laid bare the complicated history between us, the wounds that had once marked my heart, and the connection we were trying to reestablish. John's expression shifted from confusion to hurt, his eyes revealing a mix of vulnerability and betrayal. He struggled to comprehend the reemergence of my past, the revival of a relationship that had once caused me pain. His voice quivered as he questioned my intentions and fears of being drawn back into the web of emotions that had consumed me in the past. I listened attentively to his words, understanding the validity of his concerns. I assured him of my love, my commitment to our marriage, and my intentions to help Daniel without jeopardizing what we had built together. I explained that while I couldn't change the past, I believed in second chances, in forgiveness, and in the power of growth. John's eyes softened as he absorbed my words, and after a moment of silence, he nodded. "Isabella, I trust you. But promise me that you will tread carefully. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Protect us. Be mindful of the boundaries that must be upheld." His request was fair, and I vowed to honor it, knowing that I needed to navigate this delicate situation with grace and integrity. And so, with John's hesitant support, I continued to meet with Daniel, offering guidance and assistance in the best way I could. We delved deeper into conversations about his regrets, the lessons he had learned, and the changes he had made in his life. It was a fragile dance, trying to balance my commitment to John with the lingering connection I still felt for Daniel. As the weeks went by, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The memories we had shared resurfaced, as did the reasons why I had fallen for Daniel in the first place. But amidst the chaos, I reminded myself of the life I had built with John, the love, trust, and stability that anchored me. I treaded cautiously, determined to provide help and support while maintaining the boundaries necessary to protect what I held dear. Little did I know that this intricate balancing act would put my loyalty, resilience, and the strength of my marriage to the ultimate test. The past was resurfacing, intertwining with the present, and I had yet to discover the true extent of the challenges and decisions that awaited me. The days stretched into weeks, and my interactions with Daniel became more frequent. Our conversations grew deeper as we explored the intricacies of our past and the complexities of our present lives. We met in coffee shops, parks, and sometimes even in the corners of our memories, reliving shared experiences that had once defined us. As much as I tried to compartmentalize my feelings, the presence of Daniel began to weigh heavily on me. It was becoming increasingly difficult to hide the emotional turmoil I was experiencing from John. He noticed my distracted demeanor, my lingering moments of silence, and the growing distance between us. One evening, John confronted me once again. His eyes betrayed a mixture of concern and unease. "Isabella, something has changed between us. I feel like you're slipping away, and I don't know why. Please talk to me. Tell me what's going on." His words pierced my heart, and I knew that I could no longer conceal the truth. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for a difficult conversation. With trembling words, I revealed the extent of my interactions with Daniel and the emotions it had stirred within me. I emphasized my commitment to our marriage, assuring John that my love for him hadn't wavered, but that I felt a responsibility to help someone from my past who was seeking redemption. John's face contorted with a mix of hurt and confusion. He struggled to comprehend how I could entertain the idea of rekindling a connection that had once caused so much pain. His voice cracked as he questioned the boundaries we had set and the potential consequences of my involvement with Daniel. I held John's gaze, my heart heavy with the weight of my choices. I understood his fears and worries, and I promised him that I would be vigilant and mindful of the lines that should not be crossed. I assured him that my intentions were pure, driven by a desire to offer support and closure rather than rekindling a romantic flame. After a moment of silence, John spoke, his voice filled with vulnerability. "Isabella, I love you and I trust you, but I need you to remember that love requires loyalty and fidelity. I can't deny the unease I feel about this situation, but I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Just promise me that you'll protect our marriage above all else." Tears welled in my eyes as I reached out to hold John's hand. I nodded, understanding the magnitude of his willingness to stand by me in the face of uncertainty. I knew that I had to honor his trust, to tread the path I had chosen with utmost care. And so, with a renewed sense of purpose, I set out to find the delicate balance between my obligations to John and my desire to assist Daniel. It was a tightrope act, a test of my emotional strength and integrity. Every encounter with Daniel became a reminder of the life I had built with John and the commitment I had made to him. As I navigated the days ahead, I learned to compartmentalize my emotions, to protect the sacred space of my marriage while still offering support to someone from my past. It was an ongoing struggle, but I remained resolute in my determination to uphold the trust and love that bound John and me together. Little did I know that this intricate dance of emotions was merely the beginning of a journey that would push me to confront the limits of loyalty, the fragility of trust, and the choices we make when faced with the ghosts of our past. As days turned into weeks, my interactions with Daniel continued, each meeting revealing new layers of vulnerability and growth. We delved deeper into conversations about our shared past, the dreams we had once nurtured together, and the lessons we had learned from our mistakes. With each encounter, I found myself teetering on the precipice of the past and the present. The connection we once shared, though scarred, still held a flicker of familiarity. I was reminded of the passion and the laughter, the moments shared understanding that had drawn us together in the first place. Daniel, too, revealed a newfound depth and introspection. He spoke of the changes he had made, the personal growth he had undergone, and the remorse he felt for the pain he had caused. It was evident that time had offered him an opportunity to reflect on his past actions and had fueled his desire for redemption. But amidst the echoes of our shared history, the commitment to my marriage with John loomed large. I often found myself questioning the boundaries I'd set, grappling with the guilt that accompanied my emotional connection to Daniel. The conflict within me intensified with each passing day, as I tried to navigate the precarious space between loyalty and the longing for closure. In moments of solitude, I sought solace in introspection, attempting to untangle the web of emotions that threatened to entwine my heart. I questioned my motives, examining the true nature of my feelings for Daniel. Was it merely a sense of responsibility, or did a part of me still hold on to the embers of what once was? I confided in close friends, seeking their wisdom and guidance. They reminded me of the love I had built with John, the stability and trust that had taken years to cultivate. They cautioned against allowing the past to cloud the present, urging me to remain steadfast in my commitment and to prioritize the life I had created with my husband. Their words resonated within me, anchoring me to the reality of the choices I had to make. It became clear that the path of true healing and growth lay in embracing the present and letting go of the ghosts of the past. I realized that I owed it to myself, to John, and even to Daniel to move forward with clarity and integrity. With a heavy heart, I resolved to have a candid conversation with Daniel. I knew that it was time to confront the lingering emotions, to acknowledge that while the past had shaped us, it no longer had a place in our present lives. It was time to seek closure, not just for myself, but for both of us. As I prepared to meet Daniel, I steeled myself for the difficult conversation ahead. I knew that it would mark a turning point, a moment of reckoning that would test the strength of my resolve. Little did I know that this conversation would hold the power to shape not just my future, but also the future of the relationships I cherished most. The day of the anticipated conversation with Daniel arrived, bringing with it a mix of nervousness and determination. We agreed to meet in a quiet park, a place that held no memories of our shared past. As I walked towards our designated meeting spot, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness, knowing that this conversation would mark the end of a chapter in both our lives. As Daniel came into view, I noticed the mix of anticipation and apprehension etched on his face. It mirrored the emotions swirling within me. We exchanged tentative smiles, acknowledging the weight of the moment we were about to face. Finding a secluded bench, we settled into an uneasy silence before I finally spoke. Daniel, I want to thank you for opening up to me and allowing me to be a part of your journey towards growth and redemption. But I also need to be honest with you and with myself. Our shared history, as significant as it was, belongs in the past. His eyes searched mine, a flicker of understanding mingling with a hint of sadness. I understand, Isabella, he said softly, his voice laced with resignation. I've come to realize that seeking closure doesn't mean reliving what once was. It means finding peace within ourselves and moving forward. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of unspoken words hanging between us. It was a bittersweet moment, a culmination of our shared history and the realization that we had both grown and changed. The emotions that once consumed us had transformed into lessons learned and scars healed. With a heavy sigh, I continued, my voice filled with a mix of regret and acceptance. Daniel, we both deserve a chance at happiness and fulfillment. For me, that lies in the life I have built with my husband, John. I owe it to him and to myself to honor the commitment we made. Daniel nodded, a mixture of understanding and sadness reflected in his eyes. Isabella, I appreciate your honesty. I never meant to jeopardize the life you've created with John. I've learned that closure doesn't always come in the way we expect. It's about finding our own paths, separate from the past. As we parted ways, a sense of closure settled upon us. It was a closing chapter, one that had required honesty, introspection, and the courage to let go. I couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and sorrow, knowing that this was the right decision for both of us. In the aftermath of our conversation, I dedicated myself to strengthening the bond with John, nurturing the love and trust that anchored our marriage. We communicated openly, allowing the lingering effects of the past to dissipate as we focused on building a future together. Daniel remained a part of my memory, a reminder of the transformative power of forgiveness and the importance of self-reflection. Our paths had diverged once again, but the lessons we had learned would forever shape our lives. Little did I know that the choices made in that conversation would set the stage for the final chapters of this journey. A testament to the resilience of love, the fragility of trust, and the remarkable capacity for growth and renewal that lies within us all. In the aftermath of my conversation with Daniel, the fragility of my marriage with John became apparent. The trust I had built over the years was momentarily tested, and we found ourselves navigating uncharted territory. We understood that the journey toward healing required delicate navigation, open communication, and a shared commitment to moving forward. John's concerns and fears remained present, but he also recognized my sincerity and the effort I had put into maintaining our bond. We engaged in countless conversations, seeking to rebuild the trust that had been momentarily shaken. I assured him of my unwavering commitment to our marriage, emphasizing that my encounters with Daniel were rooted in a desire for closure and nothing more. Together, we set new boundaries and established a framework for honesty and transparency. We made a pact to prioritize our relationship, ensuring that our love and connection would remain steadfast amidst the challenges we faced. John's willingness to give me the benefit of the doubt was a testament to the strength of our bond, and I vowed to honor his trust. As time passed, I made a conscious effort to focus on the present, cherishing the moments shared with John. We embarked on new adventures, rekindled the joy that had brought us together, and rediscovered the deep love we shared. Our commitment to each other grew stronger, as we worked through the residual emotions and insecurities that lingered. The presence of Daniel slowly receded from my life like a fading echo. Our interactions became less frequent, transitioning from a central focus to a distant memory. I maintained a respectful distance, ensuring that my commitment to John remained unwavering. In this delicate balancing act, I discovered the true meaning of loyalty. It wasn't just about remaining faithful to John. It also involved being loyal to myself, my own growth, and the lessons learned from past experiences. I learned to hold space for forgiveness and closure, acknowledging the transformative power of letting go. Through our shared journey, John and I grew closer, solidifying the foundation of our marriage. Our love became a stronghold, fortified by the trials we had faced and the choices we had made together. We embraced the profound truth that love, forgiveness, and commitment were not static, but rather dynamic and ever-evolving forces that required nurturing and care. As we moved forward, the wounds of the past began to fade, replaced by the resilience and strength that came from weathering storms together. The chapters of our story unfolded with a renewed sense of hope and a deep appreciation for the love that had endured. Little did I know that the decisions made in this chapter would shape the final act, pushing me to confront the ultimate truth about the complexities of love and the power of forgiveness. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the capacity to heal, and the transformative nature of second chances. As our journey continued, I found myself at a pivotal crossroad. It was time to make a decision that would bring closure to the chapter involving Daniel, a decision that would solidify the path forward for both John and me. With a heavy heart, I arranged one final meeting with Daniel. We chose a quiet cafe, a neutral ground that held no traces of our shared history. The air was filled with a mix of anticipation and a tinge of sadness as we sat across from each other, acknowledging the weight of the moment. In that intimate space, I mustered the courage to share my decision with Daniel. I expressed my regrets and explained that, while I valued our shared past, I had chosen to prioritize the life I had built with John. It was a difficult conversation, filled with bittersweet emotions and the recognition that this meeting marked the true end of our journey together. Daniel listened attentively, his gaze filled with a mixture of understanding and sorrow. He, too, had come to realize that closure didn't always manifest in the ways we hoped. It wasn't about rekindling a romantic flame or reliving past memories. It was about finding peace within ourselves and moving forward. As we bid each other farewell, a sense of finality settled upon us. The weight of our shared history lingered, but we both understood that it was time to let go. Our paths diverged once again as we embarked on separate journeys of growth and self-discovery. With the closure I had sought, I returned to the sanctuary of my marriage with John. I embraced him with renewed gratitude and a profound appreciation for the love and commitment that anchored our bond. Our relationship, strengthened by the trials we had faced, became a beacon of hope and resilience. Together, we forged ahead, leaving the past behind and embracing the present. We built new memories, shared dreams, and created a future based on trust, honesty, and the profound love we had rekindled. The echoes of Daniel gradually faded, replaced by the solid foundation we had nurtured with unwavering dedication. In the end, I learned that closure doesn't always come in a neat package or follow a linear path. It is a complex, individual process that requires self-reflection, forgiveness, and the willingness to let go. I discovered the resilience of the human spirit, the transformative power of second chances, and the profound strength that lies within us to shape our own destinies. As our story continued to unfold, I carried the lessons learned from this chapter with me. It served as a constant reminder of the fragility of love, the complexity of relationships, and the importance of cherishing what we have in the present. Little did I know that the final act of our story would be a celebration of the resilience of the human heart, a testament to the enduring power of love, and a testament to the unwavering commitment to a shared future.